Hi everyone, welcome to episode 7 of Craftmas. We are nearing the end of this crazy creative adventure that I put myself on this month. And this has been quite the journey, and I hope that it's inspired you to try something new or enjoy crafting during this holiday season yourself or with your family. So if any of you are like me and end up saving all of your paper bags from Trader Joe's, then this is the crafty tutorial for you. I'm a big fan of recycling paper and gift-giving material. Yes, I'm the crazy lady who peels the tape off really slowly off of really pretty gift wrap. My family laughs at me during the holiday season. So for today's lesson, I wanted to create recycled personalized gift wrap using craft paper or recycled paper, i.e. my Trader Joe's paper bags, and then using a stamp to add a decorative repeating element. So for this tutorial, I'm going to be designing a stamp concept on my iPad using my Silhouette Mint machine to create the stamp, and then I'm going to be stamping that design on a paper bag that I can use as gift wrap. So for the materials, all you really need are a recycled piece of paper or brown paper bag. If you have a Silhouette Mint stamp making machine, you can definitely use that. If you don't, you could also basically carve out a stamp using something like an eraser or even like a potato. Just something that you can stamp on the bag to add a creative element to it. And even if you have stamps that are already pre-made that you bought from retail, you can use that too. It just makes it easier, or you can draw or paint, whatever you want to do. I'm just going to go the stamp route because I really enjoy making stamps on my little machine. And I just like the idea of taking a sketch and turning it into something physical that I can then use to create something with. So you'll also likely need some sort of stamp kit if you have one, if you don't have a mint stamping machine, and then some ink to stamp on the bag. And then we are going to use it to wrap a little gift for this holiday season. I hope you enjoy this tutorial. Let's start. Okay, so before we even begin with the illustration portion of this, I kind of want to highlight what I'm using for this stamp. I'm using the Silhouette Mint stamp making machine, and I've bought these extra stamps. So this is a 1.1 inch by 2.3 inch size stamp that I'm going to be using. So I'm going to keep that size in mind as I'm making my stamp on my iPad. So this is what everything looks like. This is the stamp portion that I feed through the machine. And then this is the stamp base. So this is what I'm going to be designing for, kind of a longer rectangular shape. So let's get started on creating something that will add to this. So to start with, we are actually going to launch Procreate. And I actually have been working on some sketches for some floral pieces that I think will work really nicely for this concept for the stamp. So the idea is I want it to look pretty and I want it to feel festive, but I don't want it to feel overly Christmassy or holiday-ish, so that I can continue to use this stamp over and over again throughout the year and not just during the holiday season. So what I'm thinking is creating kind of like a floral motif using some of these pieces here, specifically the stuff that is in full black, because that'll be a nice easy element to utilize in the actual stamp itself. And then I was thinking of utilizing red ink, so that will add kind of like the festive vibe to it. But I'll still be able to use these kinds of stamps throughout the year and not just during the holiday season. So I'm going to use these 4 elements in the stamp that I'm going to create. So to do that though, I need to keep in mind the size of the stamp. And I'm actually going to double it because I find it's always better to increase it in size and then decrease it down so that it fits the stamp and it keeps its fidelity and overall quality. So since this is 1.1 inch by 2.3 inches, I'm going to basically create an artboard that is double that size. So I'm going to go to my Procreate gallery, select the little plus button, and then I'm going to hit that little plus in that rectangle so that it gives me a custom canvas size. So I'm going to change everything from pixels to inches, and I'm going to do a 2.2 wide by 4.6 long at 300 DPI, and then I'm going to hit create, and that gives us the size of our stamp. So what I'm going to do is go back into my gallery, and then I'm going to copy some of these elements and pull them in here and start creating kind of like a, not exactly a repeat pattern, but something along the lines of that. So I'm going to go into my untitled artwork. I'm going to make sure that I'm on the layer with the artwork, and I am. I'm going to select my selection tool, and then I'm going to select the first element, and then I'm going to go up to my wrench icon. I'm going to select add and select copy, and then I'm going to go back into my new file, and I'm going to go back to my wrench icon. I'm going to select paste, and it'll paste it in for me. I'm just going to increase it in size a bit. And then I'm going to go back to my gallery and keep repeating this process until I have all the different pieces that I want in this new element pulled from this original artwork. All right, now once I have everything that I want on this stamp template, then I can begin to kind of reorientating everything on my little area here and figuring out how I want everything to look and feel. If you go to your layers panel, you'll see that each of the elements that we've copied and pasted are all on their own layers. So we can begin to kind of move things around. And then also we can select those layers and we can duplicate them. And then we can select our move icon, and we can transform things by flipping things horizontal. We can distort items, warp them. I think I'm just going to flip this horizontal, and then I'm going to bring this down over here, and I just want to create a really nice organic feeling layout with all of these different elements. And the idea is just to create something that I know I can repeat nicely and will look pretty. Okay, so I think I like this final piece. Again, it's just meant to be like a pretty floral piece that we can stamp on to something really simple to kind of zhuzh it up. Everything that is in black is what is going to be elevated on the stamp. So now that we have this, what I need to do now is go through into our layers panel and turn off our background. We want to make sure there's no background so that the stamp machine will read it properly and be able to actually process the stamp appropriately. So now that we have this created, I've turned off my background by uncheck marking it in my layers panel. Then I can export this as a PNG. So I'm going to go to my wrench icon. I'm going to select share, and I'm going to select PNG. And then I am going to actually send this to my computer because I have to run the actual machine software on my desktop, and I'll show you that process as well. So I'm going to send it to my computer, and now we can get into the computer version of this. Now that we've sent our PNG file over to our computer, we have to launch the Silhouette software. So I'm going to go into my applications, and I'm going to select my Silhouette Mint Studio app. So now that we are in our Silhouette Mint Studio software, what we need to do is click on design, and then what we're going to do is change our design from our square to the rectangle setting. So this stamp block is the 30 by 60 millimeter, so I just need to find that here on my stamp settings. So I'm going to click on it, and you'll see that it changes. And then what we're going to do is we are going to add our image to the stamp. So to add our PNG file to our stamp, what we're going to need to do is go up to the upper left hand menu bar, and we're going to select open. So in our open dialog, we're going to find our file, and we're going to hit OK. And then what we're going to do is rotate it. So we're going to take that little green button and rotate it to the left 90 degrees. And then we're going to drag this up. And then what we're going to do is we're going to scale this down. So on the right hand side in your right hand menu bar, there is this scale menu. what we're gonna do is just select fit to stamp, and it should fit perfectly within our stamp. Next, what we're gonna do is send to mint. We're gonna click on that little leaf icon, and it sets up your file so that it automatically reverses it, and then you'll see on the right hand side whether or not your mint is ready. So once it is, what you're going to do is you're going to take your mint stamp portion here with the plastic still on. You're going to double check to make sure it says your mint status is ready, and then you're going to click on Start Mint. Then while it's blinking, you're just going to feed this from the back of the machine into it, and then it'll spit it out on the other side. And then this is what you get when you're done. You see the little elements already impressed upon this. Now we have to basically take this apart and apply it to the stamp base, and I'll take you through that next step. So now that your stamp is complete, what we're gonna do is basically build the actual stamp block. So we're gonna take this out of this little cardboard container. And then once you get it out, we can apply it to the stamp block. We'll set this aside. This is the stamp block. It already comes pre-assembled. So all you have to do is take off the craft paper, and then there's adhesive on this. And then we're gonna line up our stamp with this adhesive on the block. Once you've got it on, then what we have to do is add some ink. So I'm going to use red ink to kind of make this a little bit more festive, because I know I made flowers because I wanted to be able to use this throughout the whole entire year instead of things like snowflakes and snowmen, but I still see floral things here and there, and I think just adding the red will be a fun festive way to do this. So now we have to apply the actual ink. I'm going to use the Silhouette ink that came with the kit that I got when I bought this little machine. And so what I'm doing right now is just using an old paintbrush so that I can kind of like spread it. And then it's going to need to sit for about 10 minutes in order for all of the ink to soak into the pad. And then we'll do our first tests in a moment. So before we do that though, we need to get our little cap set. So basically they give you these little labels that you can use. And what you'll do is you will ink your template on this, and that way you'll be able to tell which item you have. So I'm just going to add this label to the cap here, and then we'll test this out in a few minutes. What you'll notice as it sits is that the color starts to kind of seep into the areas that are impressed on the stamp block. Once you see this, you can kind of start to test it out. And basically you testing this stamp will remove the excess ink, and then you can begin to do your stamping on your paper bag. Okay, so I just have a piece of my Trader Joe's bag. I'm going to test this out really quick, and then I'm going to start blocking the stamps out onto my bigger piece of the craft paper. I'm going to begin wrapping my gift and then stamping the final wrapped gift so that you can get to see the final product. And this is the final product. So you can keep it as is, add a little name tag, add some ribbon. I'm just going to add this cute little fuzzy ball that we have. And I think it turned out cute. This is just a fun and really simple way to add some personalization to your wrapping, last minute wrapping. If you don't have wrapping paper, you can use something like Trader Joe's bags and create something that looks pretty and meaningful, and that has your own creative twist to it. I hope you found this little tutorial helpful. Thanks for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed this latest episode of Craftmas 2020. As I said, we are nearing the tail end of this creative adventure, and I just want to say thank you for joining me. I hope you found this little crafty tutorial helpful and informative, and if you are a last minute wrapper like someone else I know, then it actually ends up helping you out. I'll see you in the next one. Bye.